I stood in my kitchen, gripping my coffee mug with a ferocity that threatened to splinter it into 1,000 pieces in my trembling hand. Across from me sat my daughter, radiant in her white dress, her cheeks still ablaze with the remnants of the wedding 2 days prior, a haunting reminder of joy and the fragility of time. Her new husband, Brian, loomed beside her, one arm languidly draped over the back of her chair, his smile stretching unnaturally wide. Too perfect, too unsettling. With a swift motion, he thrust the envelope across the table, a silent storm brewing in the air between them. I swear, my hands never grazed it. I stood there, unflinching, my eyes wide open, refusing to betray the storm brewing within. "This is just something we thought would make things easier in the long run," Brian declared, that same oily smile stretching across his face like a mask of deceit. Ah, the tangled web of legalities, a realm where shadows dance and secrets lurk in every clause. In a world where every move counts, the stakes are high. Asset alignment becomes the battleground where fortunes are won and lost. Tension crackles in the air as decisions hang by a thread, each choice echoing with the weight of consequence. Will the pieces fall into place, or will chaos reign supreme? The drama unfolds, and the clock is ticking. Envisioning the unknown, a tapestry of dreams and fears intertwines as the shadows of tomorrow loom ever closer. What fate awaits in the uncharted realms of possibility? My daughter radiated joy, her head bobbing with the fervour of a child desperate for approval. "It's merely a formality, Mother." He possesses an unparalleled genius when it comes to the world of finances, a realm where numbers dance and fortunes are forged. We are orchestrating a trust, a fortress of security, for the moment our lives are forever changed by the arrival of children. Do you truly grasp the gravity of this moment? My stomach churned in a tempest of turmoil. The envelope loomed large, a thick slab of yellow legal paper, notarized and ominously bound with a clip, as if it held secrets too dangerous to be unleashed. But wait, there's more. The most devastating revelation awaits. It bore my name, a haunting inscription that echoed through the shadows of fate. "Just take a look when you can," Brian added, rising to clear his plate, as if the very fabric of reality hadn't just unraveled before him. "Tomorrow we embark on our honeymoon, but this will prove to be a time-saver in the days to come." Not a single word escaped my lips. As the door clicked shut behind them, I felt the weight of the envelope in my hands, a silent promise of secrets untold. I hesitated, heart racing, the air thick with tension, until finally I tore it open, ready to confront whatever dark truth lay within. As I reached out, a tremor seized my hands, a violent quake of uncertainty and dread. There it lay, stark and unforgiving in black ink, a financial agreement, crafted with chilling precision, as though I had already surrendered my assets to a new family trust, a decision I had never made, masterfully orchestrated by none other than Brian himself. In that moment, he stood on the precipice of uncertainty, his hand outstretched into the abyss, grasping for something anything yet utterly oblivious to what lay beyond the veil of darkness. No one dared to intervene. Not a soul, not even my daughter, was privy to the truth. Upon the tragic demise of my husband, a staggering fortune of $7 million was thrust upon me, a weighty legacy that would forever alter the course of my life. And not a single soul had been entrusted with my secret. Not her. Not the lawyers. Oh, the horror. Not even the bank. Can you believe it? The very institution that holds our dreams, our futures, has turned its back. The audacity, the betrayal. What a shocking twist in this tale of despair. Until I orchestrated the creation of a clandestine holding account, masked under a name that had never crossed her ears. Thank the heavens I kept my lips sealed. In that moment, clarity struck like lightning, his intentions laid bare before me, undeniable and chilling. Little did he know, I had encountered men of his kind before, their secrets lurking just beneath the surface. Behold, the users, serpents cloaked in lavish attire. Before I plunge into the depths of this conversation, I must know, where do you find yourself watching from? The anticipation hangs in the air, electric and charged. Smash that subscribe button and unleash your thumbs on this video with a like. It truly compels a greater audience to witness tales like this unfold. Refusing the contract? Oh, That was simply out of the question. I was poised to put him to the ultimate test. In just 3 days, I would unleash a trap so cunning, so insidious, that he would never suspect a thing. The stage was set for a confrontation that would leave him reeling. But what of the bait? A deceitful transfer, cloaked in shadows and betrayal. The instant he dared to pull back what he believed was a fresh inheritance deposit, I would be there, eyes locked on every single move he made. But just as I was about to set that plan into motion, suddenly, a thunderous knock echoed through the silence of my room, shattering the stillness like glass. Who could it be? My heart raced as dread filled the air. As the clock struck 9 a.m., a heavy silence enveloped the air, thick with anticipation and unspoken tension. And as I swung the door wide, my heart raced only to be met with the chilling truth. It was not Brian standing there. It was his lawyer, the harbinger of fate, stepping into the room with an air of foreboding that sent chills down spines and set hearts racing. The weight of unspoken truths hung heavily in the air, as the very fabric of reality seemed to tremble at the revelation. And in his hand, a revelation that could shatter worlds. Yet another contract looms on the horizon. This one bore the ominous title, Emergency Addendum. And there it was, the unmistakable mark of my daughter, scrawled across the page like a haunting echo of her presence. The very presence of that lawyer on my porch sent shivers down my spine, a jolt of unease that I could scarcely acknowledge. He appeared strikingly youthful, perhaps in the twilight of their 20s, teetering on the edge of youth and the looming shadows of adulthood. Clad in attire that belied his youth, he stood out, a striking figure amidst the mundane. With a briefcase clutched tightly in one hand, the other reached out, poised in a chilling display of casual civility, as if this were merely another routine exchange in a world teetering on the edge of chaos. "Mrs. Harmon," he demanded, his voice trembling with urgency. I nodded, my voice trapped in the depths of my throat, a storm of emotions swirling within me, too tumultuous to escape. Behold, I am known as Carter Wells. In this moment, I stand before you as the voice of Brian Hastings and Olivia Hastings, summoned by the weight of an urgent financial arrangement that demands our immediate attention. I stood frozen in the doorway, a silent witness to the unfolding chaos around me. "My daughter's name is Olivia Harmon," I declared, my voice devoid of emotion, yet heavy with the weight of unspoken truths. She stood firm, unyielding, refusing to alter it. He blinked, a moment of disbelief flashing across his face. But in an instant, he regained his composure, ready to face whatever lay ahead. "Without a doubt. Alas, a grave error has been committed. May I enter this realm of uncertainty? Prepare yourself. This will be over in a heartbeat." My heart raced as uncertainty gripped me, a storm of doubt swirling within. I hesitated, caught in the throes of a decision that could change everything. Every fibre of my being screamed for me to hurl the door shut with a thunderous crash. Yet, an insatiable curiosity, coupled with a piercing urgency, compelled me to step aside and peer into the abyss of the unknown, desperate to uncover just how deep this rabbit hole truly ran. He strode in with an air of absolute authority, slamming the briefcase onto my dining table, the very table where Olivia once poured her heart into her homework. With a dramatic flourish, he opened the case, revealing a set of glossy papers that gleamed ominously in the light. "This contract," he declared, "is what we're calling a precautionary measure. In a bold and unexpected turn of events, Brian and Olivia have chosen to intertwine their financial destinies, setting the stage for a dramatic new chapter in their lives. Of course, this encompasses any immediate family holdings that stand to gain from the trust's powerful embrace." I stood there, frozen, refusing to take a seat. I observed him from the shadows of the room, my arms crossed tightly, a storm brewing within me. He pressed on, undeterred by the chaos swirling around him. In a moment that would forever alter the course of their lives, Olivia, with trembling hands, inscribed her name on that fateful document just yesterday morning, mere hours before they embarked on their blissful honeymoon. "In a moment of urgency, Brian implored you to inscribe your signature before the week draws to a close, ensuring that everything is resolved before their dramatic return." I arched an eyebrow, a silent storm brewing within me. Before they return? Indeed, it is nothing more than a stark declaration of the family's unwavering allegiance. Enough with the nonsense, I commanded. Reveal to me the part that speaks of the fortune. With a heart pounding in his chest, he faltered for a moment. Then, with a dramatic flourish, he flipped the contract over and thrust his finger down, as if sealing a fate that would change everything. In the stark light of revelation, I found myself compelled to unveil any significant assets or anticipated funds, a demand that loomed over the equitable trust distribution model like a storm cloud, threatening to alter the very fabric of our financial fate. In a tense moment, they demanded to uncover the secrets I held close, their eyes piercing through the facade, searching for the truth lurking in the shadows. I was on the brink of laughter, teetering on the edge of disbelief. They craved my $7 million, a sum that could shatter lives and ignite chaos. My eyes darted to the signature, trembling above my own on that fateful dotted line. It belonged to Olivia. Her handwriting, a tempest of ink and emotion, danced across the page like a whisper of secrets waiting to be unveiled. She dashed through the words, as if the ink had burned her fingers, leaving no time to absorb the weight of what lay before her. With a heavy heart, the lawyer closed the folder, the weight of unspoken truths lingering in the air. This shields all parties entangled in this web, ma'am. In a world where the economy teeters on the brink of chaos, the weight of meticulous planning looms larger than ever before. Did Olivia truly delve into any of this? I demanded. He offered a strained smile, the kind that barely masked the turmoil beneath. They are but mere children, teetering on the precipice of life's grand stage. In a world fraught with betrayal and deceit, they cling to the fragile thread of trust that binds them, a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. How could this be? The answer, so utterly wrong, shatters the very foundation of expectation. I advanced, palms pressed firmly against the table, a storm brewing within me. Convey to Brian that his wait has only just begun. Never will I affix my signature to any document without the meticulous scrutiny of my own legal warriors. The stakes are too high, the consequences too dire. A sudden jolt of astonishment erupted across his features, as if the very air had crackled with electric tension. In the depths of comprehension, a revelation dawns. When can they anticipate your response? The clock is ticking, and the tension is palpable. You'll have it, I declared, but only when I choose to bestow it upon you. With a heavy heart, he nodded. His eyes glistening with unspoken words, gathered his belongings in a trembling grasp, and stepped into the abyss of the unknown, leaving everything behind. With a veneer of politeness, the irritation simmered just beneath the surface, ready to erupt at any moment. As the door slammed shut, a gasp escaped my lips. A breath I had unknowingly clutched within me, now released into the heavy silence. And thus, the tempest began to unfold. They were circling, a predatory dance of shadows and whispers, each heartbeat echoing the tension in the air. Brian was acutely aware, or perhaps merely inclined to believe, that I possessed wealth beyond his wildest dreams. Olivia, with her piercing gaze and trembling lips, must have unleashed words that shattered the silence, igniting a storm of chaos in the air. Perhaps a mere shadow of the truth lurks beneath the surface, perhaps a mere whisper of what lies beneath. Mum has been thriving against all odds, her strength shining like a beacon in the storm of life. Or perhaps she has chosen silence, a heavy shroud over the topic of finances since the day Dad left us. It would take but a whisper, a mere flicker of temptation, to awaken the primal instincts within a man like him, drawing him into the shadows of desire. How could I possibly cast blame upon Olivia? She was consumed by love, a tempest of emotions swirling within her heart. She had always placed her faith in others, her heart wide open, a beacon of vulnerability in a world shrouded in shadows. Naively vulnerable. In the wake of her father's devastating loss, she grasped onto Brian with a desperation that spoke of survival, as if he were her only salvation amidst the stormy seas of grief. I witnessed the unfolding of fate before my very eyes, utterly powerless, realizing that no plea from my lips could ever penetrate the fortress of her heart. But now, The air crackles with tension, a silence so thick it could suffocate. What has become of the world we once knew? Shadows loom, and uncertainty reigns. The stage is set for a revelation that will shatter everything. Now, it was no longer merely a tale of love. This was a bold maneuver, a calculated risk that sent shockwaves through the very fabric of reality. A gripping performance unfolds. And I would never allow myself to be a mere pawn in someone else's game. That fateful afternoon, I picked up the phone and dialed my attorney, Greg. "Something's terribly amiss," I declared with a tremor in my voice. "Contracts are being thrust upon us far too soon. My daughter has just stepped into the sacred bond of marriage, and now, like a dark cloud looming overhead, the ominous paperwork regarding pre-inheritance alignments has emerged." He leaned in, every fibre of his being attuned to the whispers of the moment. "Do you truly expect me to scrutinize this document?" "No," I said, my voice trembling with the weight of the moment. "I demand you to craft a decoy, a mere shadow to mislead and confuse." In the suffocating stillness, a heavy silence looms, thick and palpable, as if the very air holds its breath, waiting for the storm to break. What happens next? A decoy? In the wake of a heart-wrenching loss, I hereby declare that the sum of $240,000 is the sole inheritance bestowed upon me from my dearly departed husband. This figure stands as a testament to our shared life, now reduced to mere numbers in the aftermath of grief. Forge a deceptive trail of bank transfers leading to a modest account, shrouded in secrecy and intrigue. Craft it to appear authentic, yet utterly forgettable. Do you truly wish to lead them to believe that the inheritance has vanished into thin air? Indeed, and I must ensure it's traceable, just enough for someone like Brian to uncover the truth lurking in the shadows. Nothing is as it seems, merely lurking in the shadows, tantalizingly within reach. Greg halted once more, the weight of the moment hanging heavy in the air. But what about the true fortune? In a shrouded veil of uncertainty, already sealed away, the darkness descends. They will remain blissfully unaware, oblivious to the storm brewing just beyond their sight. He released a breath, the weight of the world hanging in the air. "Ah, Claire, you've always danced on the edge of foresight, haven't you?" "I had to be," I declared, my voice trembling with the weight of the moment. "Do you recall the moment my husband's brother, with his sly intentions, attempted to slither away with our estate right after the funeral?" He let out a chilling laugh, a sound that echoed with dark foreboding, impossible to erase from memory. As the week drew to a close, Greg unleashed a torrent of revelations upon me, each one more staggering than the last. In a moment of reckless abandon, I carelessly left the decoy files sprawled across my desk, a ticking time bomb of secrets waiting to be discovered. With an air of nonchalance, as if the very walls themselves might be watching, a sense of danger lingered in the air. Then, in the suffocating silence, I waited each second, stretching into eternity, the weight of anticipation heavy in the air. 2 days slipped away, shrouded in an unsettling silence. Silence reigned supreme, an abyss of nothingness stretching endlessly before us, a void that swallows all hope and light. What lies beneath this desolate surface? A haunting echo of despair. A chilling reminder that sometimes nothing is the most profound of all. Then there were 3. In that very moment, the message arrived, shattering the silence like a thunderclap in the night. It wasn't from Olivia, not a whisper from Brian, not a single word. From the depths of the bank, where secrets lie in shadowy corners and fortunes hang by a thread, a sinister attempt had been made to breach one of my long-forgotten joint accounts, a force that had lain in silence for years, waiting, biding its time. It was minuscule, a mere whisper of existence, barely noticeable in the vast expanse of the world around it. A mere pittance, less than $5,000 lies within its depths, hardly deserving of a single caress. Yet, the individual daring to breach the fortress of my past had the audacity to employ my maiden name. In a world shrouded in secrets, only 2 souls dared to know the truth of the fortune that lay hidden in that account, cloaked under a name that whispered of shadows and intrigue. One was my dearly departed husband. And then there was Olivia. It was a revelation that she had uttered a word, a whisper that shattered the silence. Or perhaps, just perhaps, Brian had unravelled the truth lurking in the shadows. In that moment, a chilling realization gripped me, leaving no room for doubt. They were digging, each shovelful of earth a desperate plea for the truth buried beneath layers of silence and secrets. That fateful night, I found myself ensnared in the suffocating silence of my study, a solitary figure amidst the shadows. In one hand, the deceitful summary of the inheritance looms, a treacherous document shrouded in shadows and whispers. Brian's original contract lay in the shadows of the other, a silent testament to the chaos that was about to unfold. The moment has arrived. I have made my decision. The time for waiting has come to a dramatic end. The time for testing has come to an abrupt end. I was poised on the brink of confrontation, my heart racing with anticipation. But not with a seething rage that could ignite the very air around us. With a twist that shattered his every expectation. In the depths of the heart, a flicker of appreciation ignites, a flame that dances in the shadows of despair. It whispers softly, yet its resonance is thunderous, echoing through the corridors of the soul. A moment, a gesture, a fleeting glance, each a testament to the power of thankfulness that can shatter the silence of oblivion. In this tumultuous world, gratitude emerges as a beacon, a lifeline amidst the chaos, reminding us that even in the darkest of times, there exists a glimmer of light to hold on to. The dawn broke, and with it, I found myself compelled to reach out to Olivia. "My dearest," I uttered with a fervent warmth that could ignite the very air around us. "When will the two of you return from your romantic escapade?" Her voice trembled with disbelief, a gasp escaping her lips as the weight of the revelation crashed upon her like a tidal wave. "Tomorrow? Why? Oh, why? Is everything all right?" "Of course," I replied, my smile hidden from her view, a secret dance of emotions swirling beneath the surface. "Convey to Brian that the papers are poised, ready to unleash their secrets. Oh, how I long to delve into those matters with both of you over lunch. The anticipation is almost unbearable. It shall be my grand offering. Oh, how utterly fantastic, Mother. His joy will be boundless, a radiant explosion of elation that lights up the darkest corners of his soul. How could I have doubted you? Your understanding pierces through the chaos like a beacon of hope." I hung up the phone, my heart racing, and gazed out the window, lost in a tempest of thoughts. They stood on the precipice of victory, hearts racing, minds ablaze with the thrill of triumph. But little did they know, the shadows were gathering, ready to snatch their dreams away in an instant. Little did they know, a sinister twist awaited them as they prepared to feast on a meal that would shatter their expectations. And what of the menu? A complete revelation of reality, laid bare before your very eyes. As fate would have it, the moment they stepped through the door, I had already sealed my destiny with a notary's ink. Install a covert surveillance device, and summoned Greg to don the guise of a waiter. Let them arrive with their dazzling smiles and irresistible charm, ready to weave a tale of enchantment and intrigue. $7 million I would bring, a fortune that could change everything. In a suffocating silence, where every heartbeat echoes like a thunderclap in the void. And then, in a twist that would leave hearts racing, the true contract would be unveiled. The moment that unveiled the true master of the domain, laying bare the stark reality of possession, and who dared to weave a web of deceit around it. Just as I was about to unleash my grand plan, a final message pierced through the silence, shattering my resolve. At long last, it is Olivia who takes centre stage. It was a fleeting moment, a whisper in the chaos of existence. 2 lines, etched in the fabric of fate, trembling with the weight of unspoken truths. "Mum, we must have a conversation now." "Oh, please. I beg you, do not let fury consume you. Brian claimed you issued a chilling threat against him." My heart froze in a moment of sheer disbelief. Brian was flipping the script with a speed that left me breathless. Now, Olivia found herself engulfed in a tempest of uncertainty. In that moment, the realization struck me like a thunderbolt. I was the very source of the turmoil. I found myself cast in the role of the villain, the looming threat in a tale fraught with tension, and I hadn't even unleashed my plan yet. My eyes darted across Olivia's message, each word striking me like a thunderbolt. I read it once, twice, thrice each time, the weight of her words crashing down upon me with an intensity that left my heart racing. Brian claimed you issued a chilling threat against him. We must converse immediately. Oh, please, I beg you, don't let anger consume you. I sat there, paralyzed, my phone a lifeless weight in my grasp. The screen pulsed with an electric intensity, as if it were taunting me, challenging me to respond. I did not. Not yet. The tension hangs in the air, thick and palpable, as if the very universe holds its breath, waiting for the inevitable moment to unfold. This was no mere misstep. It was a cataclysmic blunder that would echo through the ages. This was a cunning ploy, a calculated maneuver lurking in the shadows, waiting to strike with devastating precision. Brian was a genius, a mind ablaze with brilliance that could illuminate the darkest corners of ignorance. He was acutely aware of the doubt swirling within me, a tempest of suspicion that threatened to unravel everything. He was acutely aware that I had uncovered his treacherous scheme. In a twisted dance of deceit, he unleashed the very tactics that manipulators wield with chilling expertise. He cast me as the villain before the curtain even rose. As they stepped into the snare I had meticulously crafted, I would no longer appear as the cunning matriarch safeguarding her legacy. In the shadows of despair, I would appear as the bitter, paranoid widow, desperately grasping at the frayed edges of my daughter's new life, a puppet master in a tragic play of control. He had shattered my credibility before I could utter a single word. I found myself treading on the razor's edge, every move a calculated risk, every breath a whisper of danger. Silence reigns, a heavy stillness hangs in the air, as the tension builds, unspoken yet palpable. No clash of wills, no fiery exchanges, only the quiet before the storm, where every heartbeat echoes the unsaid. A moment suspended in time, fraught with unyielding anticipation. Silence reigns, a void where fury once thrived. Only an oppressive silence hung in the air, thick and suffocating, as if the world itself held its breath, waiting for the storm to break. In the heart of the battlefield, where shadows dance and destinies collide, the whispers of strategy echo like thunder. Every move, a calculated risk. Every decision, a potential downfall. The stakes rise, and the air thickens with tension as the players prepare to unleash their cunning plans. Will they emerge victorious, or will their ambitions crumble into dust? The stage is set for a dramatic clash of wits and wills. With trembling hands, I seized the phone and, heart racing, dialed Greg once more. "They're twisting it," I exclaimed, the moment he answered the call. "I figured they would," he replied, his voice steady, yet the tension hung thick in the air. "Are you absolutely certain you wish to proceed with this lunch? The stakes have never been higher." I nodded, a silent agreement hanging in the air, though he remained blissfully unaware of my presence. "Indeed. But we are not stepping into this arena as mere lawyers." He realized the truth, the weight of it crashing down like a thunderclap in the stillness of the night. "You desire my presence as a shield, not as a looming danger." "Indeed. No briefcase. The absence looms like a dark cloud, a harbinger of chaos and uncertainty. What secrets lie unguarded? What plans unravel in the shadows?" The tension thickens, and the stakes rise. A pivotal moment hangs in the balance, and the world holds its breath. Simply take your seat and bear witness. Capture every moment, every whisper of truth, every heartbeat of the unfolding tale. "I'll bring a pen and a receipt book," he declared, a wry smile playing on his lips, as if the weight of the world rested on such mundane items. And then, as if time itself conspired against them, the next day arrived with a jarring swiftness. In a moment steeped in nostalgia, I secured a secluded table at the enchanting private garden cafe, a cherished haunt of Olivia's from her childhood days. A realm adorned with rose bushes, where koi ponds shimmer like secrets, and waiters glide through the air, ever aware not to intrude upon the delicate moments unfolding. Whispers of tranquility danced through the air, where beauty meets opulence in a breathtaking tableau, the kind of place that cloaked its patrons in a veneer of civility, a fragile facade that barely concealed the wildness lurking beneath their polished exteriors. They burst onto the scene, precisely when the clock struck, as if the universe had conspired to align their arrival with the unfolding drama. Brian stood there, clad in a powder blue suit, as if he were on the brink of unveiling a $1 million idea to the fierce sharks of the tank, the tension crackling in the air like electricity. Olivia donned a seemingly innocent cream blouse, a facade that belied the tempest brewing within her heart. Her hand trembled as it wound anxiously around his arm, a silent plea for reassurance in the storm of uncertainty that surrounded them. The moment she approached, a tempest brewed within her gaze, a flicker of uncertainty dancing like shadows before she dared to take her seat. "Hi, Mum," she uttered, her voice a whisper laced with unspoken tension. I stood there, my lips brushing against her cheek, a fleeting moment of tenderness before I turned to Brian, greeting him with a smile honed to perfection over 2 decades of masquerading in the world of false charity fundraisers. "Olivia, you are a vision of beauty, a breathtaking sight that leaves the world in awe." Her lips curled into a fragile smile, a flicker of relief cutting through the heavy tension that hung in the air. In that fateful moment, her eyes locked onto Greg, and the world around her faded into a haunting silence. Oh, could it be? "Greg! My friend!" I exclaimed, urgency lacing my voice. "He's making his dramatic entrance for lunch, the tension palpable in the air. In a world where uncertainty reigns, they navigate the treacherous waters of insurance." Greg's head bobbed in a measured, almost rehearsed manner, a veneer of civility masking the tempest of emotions swirling beneath the surface. "What an unexpected delight to cross paths with you both. Oh, how fortuitous the stars have aligned for you today." In a dimly lit kitchen, the chef stands poised, a master of his craft, as he prepares to transform the humble duck into a culinary masterpiece duck confit. The air thickens with anticipation, each slice and sizzle echoing the promise of a dish that will leave diners breathless. Brian stood there, a mask of calmness, as chaos swirled around him, unshaken by the tempest of emotions that threatened to engulf everyone else. He gripped Greg's hand with a fierce intensity, then leaned back, a smirk playing on his lips, as if he had reclaimed the reins of power once more. In a moment of culinary destiny, we summoned forth a vibrant salad for Olivia, a succulent steak for Brian, and a steaming bowl of soup for myself. We exchanged trivialities, the air thick with anticipation, until the moment arrived the food, a tantalizing promise, graced our table. Amidst the whirlwind of travel, the wedding looms like a tempest, and the weather, oh the weather, threatens to unleash its fury. Brian launched into a tale that teetered on the edge of absurdity, recounting the moment their luggage vanished into thin air. In a twist of fate, a concierge, with a glint of mischief in his eye, extended an outrageous offer. His very own yacht, a vessel of luxury, to remedy their plight. The air crackled with disbelief as the story unfolded, each word dripping with the surreal nature of their misadventure. I nodded, a smile creeping across my face, and then I waited, the tension thick in the air. At last, Brian leaned in, his fork clattering to the table, his expression shifting to one of raw sincerity. "Claire, the time has come to confront the storm brewing between us." Oh, how could I have known the weight of my words would bear down upon you like a storm? I never intended to thrust you into the depths of despair. In a moment of hope, I envisioned us crafting something brilliant, united as a family, defying the odds that threatened to tear us apart. When Olivia revealed the heart-wrenching news of your husband's untimely departure and the burden you've shouldered in managing the estate all on your own, I was struck with a wave of profound emotion. Guarded and fierce, I arched an eyebrow, a silent storm brewing within me, guarding me with fierce devotion. What of Olivia? What fate awaits her? And by extension, your very existence hangs in the balance. I nodded, the weight of the moment pressing down on me like a storm cloud ready to burst. How incredibly generous of you. Olivia's gaze darted back and forth, a tempest of uncertainty swirling within her. The air crackled with tension as she stood on the precipice of decision, her heart racing in the silence that enveloped us. With a trembling hand, Brian plunged into the depths of his coat pocket, emerging with the very folder that had haunted my thoughts before. Once more, I present the paperwork, a desperate plea for your consideration, hoping against hope that time has granted you the clarity to ponder its weighty implications. He set it down on the table with a reverence that suggested it was a treasure, a precious gift bestowed upon the unsuspecting world. With trembling hands, I seized it and began to turn the pages, each one a suspenseful revelation waiting to unfold. In that electrifying moment, I plunged my hand into the depths of my handbag, emerging with a document that was undeniably mine, a revelation waiting to unfold. It's a mere illusion, a facade that shatters the very essence of truth. The decoy that Greg meticulously crafted, a masterstroke of deception, lay in wait, shrouded in an air of suspense and intrigue. With a trembling hand, I set it atop his, a perfect fold that whispered secrets of fate. Behold, I declare my inheritance disclosure. I proclaimed with a tremor of anticipation. $240,000. A staggering sum that hangs in the air like a thunderclap, echoing with the weight of dreams and despair. What secrets lie beneath this monumental figure? What choices will it ignite? The tension is palpable, the stakes impossibly high. What remains? A mere shadow after the storm of debt clearances and the relentless grip of legal fees. It's the last remnant of my shattered world. Brian's eyes darted to the document, a storm of emotions brewing within him. He stood there, eyes wide, heart racing, as the object lay untouched before him, a silent challenge in the air, daring him to make a move. The tension crackled like electricity, and yet he remained frozen, paralyzed by the weight of the moment. But I witnessed the storm of calculations brewing in his mind. The sum was far too meager to forge a foundation of trust upon, insignificant enough to be unworthy of my manipulation. So minuscule, it barely warranted the peril he had already embraced by dragging a lawyer into this treacherous game and daring to forge Olivia's unsuspecting signature on that fateful addendum. His smile was a mask, a fragile veneer hiding the tempest brewing beneath the surface. Olivia leaned forward, her heart pounding in her chest as the tension in the room thickened like a storm cloud ready to burst. Hold on, what just happened? Is that truly all that remains? I locked my gaze with hers, a tempest of emotions swirling between us. Your father was drowning in a sea of debt, far beyond what I dared to reveal to you. After the funeral, I was consumed by the weight of my sorrow, desperate to shield you from the shadows that loomed over me. I couldn't bear the thought of adding to your grief. Her face crumbled like fragile porcelain, a haunting reflection of despair washing over her features. But you appeared to be just fine. With a trembling voice, I confessed. I managed. In a twist of fate, I parted ways with the lake house, sever the ties. I could never bear the thought of you burdened by worry. She swallowed hard, the weight of the moment crashing down upon her like a tidal wave of despair. Oh, the weight of that single utterance hangs heavy in the air, a harbinger of unspoken truths and tumultuous emotions swirling just beneath the surface. With trembling hands, Brian's fingers closed around the glass, the weight of the moment hanging heavy in the air. His smile lingered, yet it was a mere shadow of its former self, on the brink of collapse. I see, he uttered, his voice barely a whisper, laden with unspoken weight. Greg stood frozen, his hand poised above the pen, a storm of thoughts raging within him. The atmosphere at the table crackled with an electric intensity, thick with unspoken words and simmering emotions, as if a tempest were brewing just beneath the surface. At last, the final detail has been added, sealing the fate of all that came before it. With a calm yet resolute demeanour, I declared after our lunch, I shall be closing that account and transforming it into a modest annuity for my retirement. It may not be extravagant, but it will endure through the trials ahead. Brian's eyes widened in disbelief. A moment of stunned silence hanging in the air like a fragile thread ready to snap. Then he rose, a figure of defiance against the shadows that loomed around him. "I need the restroom," he declared, a short laugh escaping his lips, as if the urgency of the moment was somehow a jest in this twisted play of fate. The morning's dark brew surged through my veins, a tempest of energy unleashed too much espresso, a perilous choice that set my heart racing and my mind ablaze. He stormed away, the folder left abandoned on the table, a silent witness to the chaos that had just unfolded. As soon as he vanished from sight, Olivia leaned in, her heart racing with anticipation. "Mum, did you truly unleash a threat upon him?" I gazed into her eyes, a storm brewing within the depths of my soul. "Absolutely not, but I did declare, with unwavering conviction, that I would not affix my signature to any document without the scrutiny of legal counsel, and that revelation must have sent a shiver down his spine." She averted her gaze, as if the weight of the world pressed upon her shoulders. He declared, with a voice trembling in disbelief, "that you branded him a liar." Silence enveloped the room, a heavy shroud of unspoken words. I stood there, paralyzed, my lips sealed tight, as if the very air around me had conspired to keep my thoughts locked away. Nothing escaped my mouth, not a whisper, not a breath. The weight of my silence hung like a storm cloud, ready, for I had, in the depths of my mind, remained silent. She stood on the precipice of revelation, her heart pounding, unprepared for the storm of truth that loomed just beyond her grasp. Not yet. The tension hangs in the air, thick and palpable, as the clock ticks ominously forward. When Brian returned, a chilling calm enveloped him, as if the storm within had finally quelled, leaving an eerie silence in its wake. Unbearably calm. He sat down, folded the folder, and slipped it back into his pocket. "Do you truly grasp the weight of this moment?" he declared, his voice trembling with the weight of unspoken truths. "Indeed, Claire, you have struck a chord of undeniable truth." I plunged headfirst into chaos. "We stand together, united as a brand new family, ready to face the world. We must forge trust through the time-honored methods of yesteryears, where every word is a promise and every action a testament to our unwavering commitment." I smiled, my lips pressed together in a tense facade. Oh, how delightful that sounds. Lunch concluded amidst a facade of polite smiles and awkward embraces, each moment heavy with unspoken tension. But as I stood there, frozen in disbelief, a relentless ache clawed at my insides as I watched them disappear into the shadows. Brian was not the kind of man to leave without claiming his prize, and in that moment, a chilling realization gripped my heart. I had not yet claimed victory. 2 nights later, the unimaginable unfolded. The shrill ring of the phone shattered the silence of the morning, dragging me from the depths of slumber. It was my banker, and the urgency in their voice sent a jolt of adrenaline coursing through my veins. "A withdrawal request for $240,000 has been made," she declared, her voice trembling with the weight of the revelation, "set in motion by the remnants of your forgotten digital identity." It was marked as suspicious, a dark cloud of uncertainty looming over the unfamiliar device. I stood paralyzed, my heart pounding in my chest. "What device, you ask?" The air thickens with anticipation, as if the very walls are holding their breath, waiting for the revelation that could change everything. In a twist of fate, a mysterious figure lurks, fingers poised over Olivia's tablet, ready to unveil secrets hidden within its glowing screen. In the dimly lit room of the hotel, where echoes of laughter and whispers of promises lingered, they logged in, the weight of the wedding still heavy in the air. The moment the door creaked open, I felt the air thicken with tension. There was no need for speculation. I knew, with a chilling certainty, who stood before me. He had laid eyes on the forged inheritance document, a treacherous deception lurking in the shadows of his fate. He was consumed by it. And now, he had dared to seize it all. The sole dilemma. That account lay barren, a desolate void of nothingness. It was a mere illusion, a lifeless facade that concealed the truth beneath its surface. But what sent chills down my spine was the realization that he had access to Olivia's devices. She had entrusted him with her passwords, granting him full access, and perhaps, in her naivety, had unwittingly flung wide the gates to a far darker realm. I slammed the phone down, my heart racing, and dialed Olivia's number with trembling fingers. Silence hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. She didn't answer. Once more, I plunged into the abyss of uncertainty, driven by an insatiable need to conquer the impossible. Silence reigns, a deafening void where words should have flowed. The absence of response hangs heavy in the air, a chilling reminder of unspoken truths and unanswered questions. What lies beneath this stillness? The tension builds, a storm brewing just out of sight, waiting for the moment to unleash its fury. Will the silence be shattered? Or will it linger? A haunting echo of what could have been. Then, a text appeared, shattering the silence like a thunderclap in the night. What secrets did it hold? What revelations were about to unfold? The air crackled with tension, and every heartbeat echoed the urgency of the moment. Mother, we find ourselves in a moment of stillness. Shall we engage in conversation tomorrow? In the stillness of the moment, a profound silence envelops the air, as if the world itself holds its breath, waiting for the next heartbeat to shatter the calm. Resting, but not merely in slumber. It is a pause, a dramatic interlude in the grand play of existence, where every second stretches into eternity, and the weight of unspoken thoughts hangs heavy like a storm cloud ready to burst. Indeed, sleep eluded me that night, a cruel spectre haunting my every thought, because I was entangled in a web far more sinister than a mere gold digger. I found myself ensnared in a web spun by a cunning thief. But wait, the most devastating revelation lurks just beneath the surface. He lay there, oblivious, in the shadows of the night, mere inches away from my daughter, a silent threat lurking in the darkness. Sleep eluded me, a cruel spectre haunting the night. The house loomed, an icy spectre in the dim light, its chill seeping into the very bones of those who dared to enter, even as the thermostat betrayed no hint of the creeping dread that enveloped the air. I drifted from room to room, a spectre in my own home, securing windows, rifling through drawers, and glancing through the curtains, heart racing at the thought that Brian might materialize on the porch, wearing that insidious smile and clutching yet another deceitful contract. But he would never step into the light again. No, he had already infiltrated our lives, burrowing deep within Olivia's heart. But wait, the most devastating revelation looms ahead. Little did she know, the storm was brewing just beyond her horizon. As the clock struck 6 a.m., I found myself ensconced in my armchair, cocooned in a blanket, my gaze fixated on the lifeless television screen, a void that mirrored the turmoil within. The night passed in silence, untouched by the flicker of its light, as I left it dormant, a forgotten relic in the shadows. The suffocating silence enveloped me, a heavy shroud that pressed down on my thoughts, forcing them to the surface like a storm brewing in the depths of my mind. In a world where secrets lurk in every shadow, a tale unfolds that will leave you breathless. The characters, each with their own hidden agendas, collide in a whirlwind of betrayal and passion. As the stakes rise, alliances shatter, and the truth becomes a weapon. Prepare for a journey that will grip your heart and challenge your very perception of reality. As the first rays of sunlight pierced through the dense canopy, I rose from the shadows, brewed a steaming cup of coffee, and dialed Greg's number, my heart racing with anticipation. He picked up on the very first ring, as if fate had orchestrated this moment just for him. He attempted to withdraw the counterfeit cash, I whispered, the tension thick in the air, from the depths of Olivia's tablet. Greg's voice held no trace of astonishment. He's bolder than I ever imagined, a tempest of audacity swirling in the shadows of my expectations. Or more foolish, or perhaps both. The tension hangs thick in the air, a choice that could alter everything. I pressed my fingers against my forehead, a wave of tension crashing over me. I demand a digital trail, a revelation that screams it was not my hand that breached the gates of that account. Will you lend your hand in this moment of desperation? With a voice that cut through the tension like a knife, he declared, "Already on it. We shall seize the IP address, capture the device signature, and unveil the timestamp, revealing the truth hidden in the shadows." But Claire, the clock is ticking, and we may be on the brink of disaster. Oh, I know. I ended the call, my heart racing, and stared down into the abyss of my coffee, as if it held the answers to the chaos swirling within me. This had transcended mere currency. It was now a battle for something far greater. This was a battle for dominance. And there I stood, a desperate guardian, determined to rescue my daughter from the clutches of a man who would exploit her, siphon her spirit, and then vanish into the shadows with every precious piece of her he could seize. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, I found myself compelled to reach out to Olivia, fingers trembling over the screen as I crafted my message. "Enter the house if you dare," isolated in the depths of despair. "No, Brian, only we remain." In a heartbeat, she responded, her words slicing through the tension like a knife. Why? Oh, why? The question hangs in the air, heavy with despair and uncertainty, echoing through the silence like a haunting melody. What dark forces conspire to bring us to this moment? The heart races, the mind whirls, and the answer remains elusive, shrouded in shadows. Why? What is happening here? Come, if you dare. In a whirlwind of flour and sugar, I conjured the very essence of that lemon cake you adore. In a moment that hung in the air like a thunderclap, she uttered the fateful words. She agreed. As the clock struck 2 p.m., the ominous sound of her car screeched into the driveway, shattering the stillness of the afternoon. With bated breath, I dared to part the blinds, my heart racing as the world outside unfolded before my eyes. She stood there, utterly alone, a solitary figure against the backdrop of an unforgiving world. Excellent. She entered the room with a deliberate slowness, each step heavy with unspoken tension. With a heart pounding in the silence, uncertainty loomed like a dark cloud overhead. Her eyes darted across the room, a tempest of anticipation swirling within them, as if she were bracing for the flash of cameras or the clash of confrontation. I embraced her tightly, the world around us fading into oblivion as the moment hung heavy with unspoken words. She held on to it, the weight of her decision hanging in the air like a storm cloud, refusing to return it immediately. We gathered at the kitchen table, the air thick with unspoken tension, as if the very walls were holding their breath, waiting for the storm to break. The very place where I once wove her hair into delicate braids before the dawn of each school day. We must speak now. It's urgent, and the weight of what I have to say hangs heavy in the air. I declared, as I slid her a slice of cake, the tension thick in the air, a moment suspended in time, fraught with unspoken words and electric anticipation. Speak your truth, unfiltered and raw. Her gaze fell upon it, a tempest of emotions swirling within her. What lay before her was more than mere object. It was a harbinger of fate, a catalyst for the storm brewing in her heart. Very well, I unleashed everything within me. It has come to my attention that Brian, in a desperate bid, attempted to breach an account that was never meant for his eyes. He dared to lay his hands on your tablet. He unleashed a storm of suspicion, igniting a fraud alert that sent shockwaves through the air. Her face drained of colour, a ghostly mask of disbelief. What? No, he simply would not. He did. The air crackled with tension as the words hung in the silence, a revelation that shattered the calm and sent shockwaves through the room. What would happen next? The stakes had never been higher. He suspected a fortune lay hidden beneath the surface. In a moment of reckless intrigue, I planted a counterfeit document, eager to witness the chaos that would unfold in his reaction. Olivia's eyes brimmed with tears, a tempest of emotion swirling within her, threatening to spill over at any moment. You orchestrated his downfall. I leaned forward, heart racing, as the tension in the air crackled like a live wire. I shielded you from the storm that raged around us. How could I possibly accept such a harrowing truth? The very thought sent shivers down my spine, but I was consumed by an insatiable need to uncover the truth of his very existence. With a swift motion, She shook her head, rising abruptly to her feet. This is utterly outrageous. How dare you? You're lurking in the shadows, watching our every move, twisting my very essence. I am desperately fighting to shield you from the clutches of those who would strip you bare. He loves me. Oh, the sweet torment of passion. Can it be true? A heart laid bare, a soul exposed. What a tangled web we weave in the name of love. I rose as well, then confront him with fiery intensity, demanding to know why he dared to invade your tablet's sacred space. Demand to know what he was attempting to seize. I simply do not. He simply would not. He claimed you were consumed by paranoia, that you loathed him with every fibre of your being, for I beheld him in all his raw, unmasked truth. With trembling hands, she snatched her purse, tears cascading down her cheeks like a torrential storm. I can't do this, she exclaimed, her voice trembling with despair. I crave the vastness of solitude. Olivia! Please, I beg you. But she had already burst through the door, leaving chaos in her wake. With a heart pounding like a drum, she slammed her foot on the accelerator, the tires screeching in protest as she tore away into the night, leaving chaos in her wake. I stood there, heart shattered, as the dust danced ominously upon the gravel road, a haunting reminder of what once was. In a moment of sheer desperation, I had just thrust her aside, the weight of my actions hanging heavy in the air. And Brian? He would emerge victorious, but only if I were to lose her forever. I retreated indoors, collapsing into a chair, my chest constricted with an overwhelming weight of dread. After years of drought, the floodgates burst open, and the tears flowed like a torrential storm. In that very moment, the phone rang, Greg's name flashing ominously on the screen. I got the data, he declared, his voice trembling with a mix of triumph and dread. It is confirmed. It was Brian. The name echoed through the air, heavy with unspoken secrets and the weight of 1,000 untold stories. A gasp escaped the lips of those present, as if the very mention of him could shatter the fragile silence that enveloped the room. Who would have thought? Who could have imagined? The tension crackled like electricity. It can be included in a report. A revelation waiting to unfold. Excellent, I whispered, my voice barely escaping the confines of my trembling lips. Olivia's hatred will be inconsequential, a mere whisper in the storm of my existence. She simply will not. She vanished into the shadows, leaving behind a silence that screamed of betrayal. He stood there, a heavy silence enveloping him, as if the very air held its breath in anticipation. Then, Claire, what if we plunge into the abyss? I let out a soft, trembling sniffle, the weight of the world pressing down on my chest. But how could it possibly go further? We unveil his dark secrets in the glaring spotlight of the public eye. Do you still possess those wedding video clips, my dear? What are these so-called reception speeches? Indeed, allow me to delve into their depths. Perhaps he lost his footing in a moment of sheer chaos. Perhaps he boasted with reckless abandon. Greg, no. You must listen to me. He struts around with an air of superiority, as if the world owes him everything. His words spill forth like a relentless torrent, drowning all in their wake. Should he dare to whisper of riches in the presence of others, we shall seize the moment and make it resonate. I nodded, the weight of the moment crashing down upon me like a tidal wave, leaving no room for escape. Very well, I shall dispatch everything without delay. That fateful night, I found myself drawn back to the footage, unable to escape its haunting grip. Not merely from the skilled hands of the professional videographer, but from the whirlwind of guests' Instagram stories, the pulsating energy of live streams, and even the unsteady, chaotic phone footage that Olivia had desperately sent my way. And then, in a moment that felt like an eternity, I stumbled upon it. Brian, clutching a drink like a lifeline, stands amidst a whirlwind of friends, laughter echoing around him, but shadows lurk just beyond the light. The camera lingers at a distance, yet the audio pierces through the silence with startling clarity. He erupts into laughter, a sound that pierces the silence like a thunderclap, echoing with an unsettling intensity. infuriatingly self-satisfied, unyielding, unshakable, a force to be reckoned with. One of his friends leans in, eyes wide with anticipation, and asks, "So what's next, man? Did you really marry into wealth?" He responds, his voice booming with defiance. "Not yet, but just wait. In a mere month, everything will change. Prepare yourself for what's to come." Amidst the shadows of uncertainty, the friends erupt into laughter, their voices echoing like thunder in the stillness, a fleeting moment of joy against the backdrop of impending chaos. He raises his glass, a triumphant gesture, as if the weight of a monumental agreement hangs in the air. I halted the video, my heart racing wildly in my chest. There it stood, a harbinger of fate. Arrogance, a spectacle unveiled before our very eyes, captured in the unforgiving glare of the lens. In a moment of tension, I dispatched it to Greg. He responded in a heartbeat, as if the very air crackled with tension. "Understood. This is pure gold. Allow me to prepare something extraordinary." As dawn broke, a daring scheme began to take shape in my mind. Once more, I found myself dialing Olivia's number, the tension thick in the air. Silence looms, an echo of unanswered questions hanging in the air, thick with tension and anticipation. Once more, I summoned the courage to attempt it again, the weight of anticipation heavy in the air. Silence reigns. The void remains unbroken. And then, like a bolt from the blue, a message pierced the silence. "Brian and I are in desperate need of time. Time to unravel the chaos that surrounds us. We implore you, honor the boundaries we have set." That was the moment everything changed. "No, Mother." Coldness envelops the air, a chilling absence that cuts deeper than any blade. Only the vast, empty void of space. But the clock was ticking, and I could no longer afford the luxury of waiting. With a heart pounding like a drum, I approached her, the air thick with tension and unspoken words. With a heart pounding like a drum, I steered my car toward their apartment, the weight of anticipation heavy in the air. A sleek condo complex, shrouded in mystery, guarded by imposing security gates, offering breathtaking rooftop views that whisper secrets of the city below. As I pressed the buzzer, the door swung open to reveal Brian, his presence a jarring surprise in the stillness of the moment. "Claire," he uttered, his voice devoid of emotion, a chilling calmness hanging in the air. "I must urgently seek an audience with Olivia. She lies there, enveloped in the stillness of the night, lost in a world of dreams, unaware of the tempest that brews just beyond her slumber. It is 10 o'clock in the morning, the hour when the world holds its breath, teetering on the edge of the unknown. She is utterly exhausted. I shall wait, my heart heavy with anticipation, as the shadows of uncertainty loom over me. A moment hangs in the air, heavy with anticipation. Then, the air thickened with tension, as if the very fabric of reality was about to unravel. A moment hung suspended, heavy with unspoken words and unfulfilled desires, waiting for the inevitable clash that would change everything. She turns away, her heart a fortress, refusing to let you in. I stood frozen, a statue in the midst of chaos. She is destined to be mine, and no force on this earth can tear us apart. "I'm not," he declared, his voice slicing through the tension like a knife. She yearns for peace, desperately avoiding the tempest of chaos that threatens to engulf her. I released a breath through my nostrils, a silent storm brewing within me. Very well. With a heavy heart, I pivoted and strode into the abyss, leaving everything behind. But first, I stealthily slid the USB stick, the one holding the wedding video clip, into their mailbox, a silent act cloaked in anticipation. Let him attempt to unravel that tangled web of chaos. 2 agonizing days passed, and still, no word from Olivia. At long last, the moment arrived. She appeared at my doorstep, a figure cloaked in mystery and tension, the air thick with unspoken words and electric anticipation, all alone. Eyes swollen, tears cascading like a torrential downpour, hands trembling with the weight of despair. She stormed in, silence hanging heavy in the air, and plopped down with a weight that echoed her unspoken turmoil. "I watched the video," she whispered, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and intrigue. I found myself seated next to her, the air thick with unspoken tension. Her gaze was averted, as if I were a ghost haunting the very air between us. I confronted him about it, she declared, her voice trembling with intensity. He declared it was merely a jest, a trivial quip that men often utter in their folly. I remained silent, the weight of unspoken words hanging heavy in the air. But I checked his browser history, she gasped, her voice trembling with despair. He gazed upward, a storm brewing in his mind, as he delved into the dark arts of accessing trust funds, plotting to slip through the treacherous barriers of account authentication. With trembling fingers, I dared to grasp her hand, the air thick with unspoken tension. She relinquished it into my trembling hands. "I'm so sorry," she wailed, her voice breaking as tears streamed down her face. And at last I surrendered to the tempest within, allowing the tears to cascade down my cheeks. But just as we clung to one another, the world around us began to unravel. Her phone erupted with a sudden buzz on the table, shattering the silence like a thunderclap in the stillness of the room. She wiped her eyes, the weight of despair heavy upon her shoulders, as the world around her faded into a blur of shadows and echoes. Gazed upon it, a moment frozen in time. Then, their gaze pierced through me, a silent storm brewing in their eyes. "It's Brian," she declared, her voice trembling with an intensity that hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. Her voice fell into an abyss of emptiness. "He proclaims, with a fierce glint in his eye, that he has summoned the full force of legal might." I froze in place. "What?" "He threatens that if I dare to escape, he will unleash a lawsuit for fraud upon me. He possesses a prenup, a document that could shatter dreams and alter destinies. He'll reveal my darkest secret, how I squandered his fortune on the wedding." "But you didn't," I exclaimed, my voice trembling with disbelief. She shook her head, a tempest of disbelief swirling within her, as if the very fabric of reality had unraveled before her eyes. "Absolutely not. Yet, my name looms over every single thing." I reclined in my chair, the weight of the world pressing down on me. And thus, the stage was set for his next audacious move. If he couldn't take from me, he'd drain Olivia of every last drop. He plotted her ruin, a dark vengeance brewing within him, ready to unleash chaos upon her unsuspecting world. Time was slipping away, and with each passing moment, the threat loomed larger. If we didn't act fast, he might just achieve his sinister goal. I stood before my daughter, the weight of the world pressing down upon us, the air thick with unspoken words and emotions swirling like a tempest around us. My heart shatters once more, a cruel twist of fate striking for the second time in just 2 weeks. She was as pale as a ghost, her skin a canvas of despair, reflecting the turmoil that churned within her soul. Quaking with fear, ripped from the clutches of happiness she had clung to just days before, now left in a void of despair. The radiant honeymoon smile had vanished, leaving behind a haunting emptiness. The once vibrant sparkle in her eyes had dimmed, leaving behind a haunting emptiness that echoed her silent despair. And the most devastating revelation was the haunting truth that she hadn't merely lost a marriage. She felt the flickering flame of her self-belief dimming, teetering on the edge of despair. Brian had succumbed to the inevitable, a fate entwined with the very essence of men like him. He wove his enchantment, slipping through the door like a whisper in the night, struggled to seize every thread of fate. And now, with the mask stripped away, he loomed over her, vowing to reduce her very existence to ashes. Not while I stand guard. With trembling hands, I seized Olivia's phone from the table, my heart racing as I scrolled through the chilling message Brian had sent. "Do not dare to entertain the thought of making a move. In a moment that would echo through the corridors of fate, you signed the agreement. Prepare for the showdown, for I shall march into that courtroom and emerge victorious." Below that, haunting screenshots of documents she couldn't even recall signing, looming like ghosts from a forgotten past. Bank transfers, both of their names entwined in a web of financial intrigue. A receipt, a harbinger of promises made and dreams entwined, for a wedding ring purchased with the very essence of their shared life, from Olivia's joint account with him. He had been plotting this all along, I breathed, my voice trembling with the weight of revelation. Olivia nodded, tears streaming down her face, a silent storm of anguish brewing within her. "I feel so utterly foolish," she exclaimed, her voice trembling with despair. "You're not stupid," I declared with fervour, my voice echoing in the charged air between us. Oh, the depths of your heart were ensnared in a tempest of passion. He simply was not. In a moment of desperation, I reached for my phone and dialed Greg's number, my heart racing with anticipation. He answered on the very first ring, as if fate itself had orchestrated this moment. "She has arrived." He stands poised, a storm brewing in his eyes, ready to unleash the fury of legal action upon his adversaries. "Good," Greg declared, his voice slicing through the tension like a knife through silk. Then, the moment has arrived for us to unveil our hand. He had been waiting for this moment, the air thick with anticipation, every heartbeat echoing like a drum roll in the silence of his mind. Greg had meticulously crafted a counter-offensive, a bold move that would send shockwaves through the battlefield of strategy. A comprehensive dossier, replete with digital forensics, device fingerprints, IP logs, and the damning footage of Brian boasting about his sinister plans, meticulously assembled to obliterate him should this ever reach the courtroom's unforgiving glare. "Are you seriously asking me to deliver this to his lawyer?" Greg demanded, his voice trembling with urgency. "No," I declared, my voice trembling with the weight of the moment. "Not yet." The tension hangs thick in the air. A palpable silence that screams for resolution. And then what unfolded? I must confront him at once, confronted by Olivia, the air thick with tension. Greg came to an abrupt halt, the weight of the moment crashing down around him. "Claire." The name echoes through the silence, a haunting whisper that stirs the very air around us. What secrets lie behind those eyes? What shadows dance in the corners of her mind? The tension thickens, and the world holds its breath, waiting for the next revelation to shatter the stillness. I demand that he bears witness to the depths of our knowledge. I demand that he meets my gaze, for the final act has unfolded, and the game has reached its dramatic conclusion. He surrendered to the inevitable, his fate sealed with a single word. We scheduled the meeting for the next fateful afternoon, where destinies would collide and secrets would unravel. In a bold move, I selected a public arena, a lawyer's office nestled in the heart of downtown, its glass walls gleaming under the harsh light, cameras silently observing every whispered secret. Greg would lurk in the shadows, a silent figure in the corner, his presence heavy with unspoken tension. Olivia, as well. Text I pleaded with her, urging her to stay away, but her resolve was unyielding. She insisted, her determination burning like a wildfire. I must witness the moment his eyes widen in disbelief, the instant he comprehends that I am truly finished. We arrived, the air thick with anticipation, the clock ticking ominously as we stood on the precipice of the unknown. Brian arrived, a full 10 minutes late, his expression dripping with smugness, as if the world revolved around him. He strode in, clad in a sleek black turtleneck and dark sunglasses, exuding an air of self-importance, as if he were a star stepping onto the red carpet. His smile pierced through the tension as he laid eyes on us, a flicker of warmth in the storm of uncertainty. But alas, it was fleeting. With a trembling hand, Greg thrust the folder into his grasp, the weight of unspoken secrets hanging heavy in the air. "Behold, a courtesy copy of our findings has arrived, shrouded in intrigue and anticipation." With trembling hands, Brian tore through the first few pages, each turn a heartbeat echoing in the silence, the weight of the unknown pressing down on him like a storm, ready to unleash its fury. And there it was, laid bare before my eyes. The shift. A moment suspended in time, where everything teeters on the brink of chaos. The air crackles with tension, and the world holds its breath, waiting for the inevitable upheaval that will change everything forever. His face contorted in a sudden, jarring spasm. His lips parted ever so slightly, a moment suspended in time, as if the very air held its breath in anticipation. His posture became a rigid monument of tension. In that harrowing moment, the weight of his fate crashed down upon him. He knew he was caught. "There's no crime here," he exclaimed, his voice trembling with urgency, as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling before him. Nothing can be proven, not a single thing. You're absolutely right, Greg declared, his voice trembling with the weight of revelation. In a world where shadows loom and whispers echo, the truth emerges. There is no crime. A chilling silence envelops the air as the weight of innocence hangs heavy, defying the chaos that surrounds it. Yet, the tension hangs in the air, thick and palpable, as if the very universe holds its breath, waiting for the inevitable clash of fate to unfold. Yet, what we possess is more than sufficient to ignite a whirlwind of investigations. Identity theft lurks in the shadows, a sinister force ready to strike at the heart of trust and security. Deceitful schemes of monetary deception. In a world where deception reigns, the sinister grip of fraudulent coercion tightens around the very essence of contracts, twisting them into instruments of betrayal and manipulation. Brian let out a derisive laugh, a sound laced with disbelief and disdain. Your voice echoes through the screen, a haunting presence captured in the flickering light of the video. I uttered in a hushed whisper, the weight of my words hanging in the air like a storm about to break. In a moment that hung heavy in the air, you declared, and I quote, "Give me a month. Prepare yourself for the revelation that awaits," and you dared to attempt to siphon funds from my daughter's account, all without her consent. He fixed his gaze on Olivia, his eyes narrowing with a fierce intensity. You revealed the truth to them. She stood there, unyielding, her gaze unwavering, as the storm of chaos raged around her. Not a single muscle twitched, not a breath escaped her lips. She was a statue amidst the tempest, defying the very essence of fear. "No," she declared, her voice slicing through the air like a knife. "You did it." With a thunderous crash, he slammed the folder shut, the sound echoing like a gunshot in the tense silence of the room. "What is it that you desire?" In an explosive moment he snapped. I leaned forward, my heart racing, the air thick with tension. "Your very existence is about to vanish into thin air." His eyebrows shot up, a silent question hanging in the air, thick with tension. "You're going to turn your back and walk away, leaving everything behind in a whirlwind of chaos and unresolved tension." I pressed on, undeterred by the weight of the moment. Sign the annulment, and let the ink seal the fate of what once was a dramatic end to a tale fraught with turmoil. Free Olivia from the shackles of shared accounts, properties, and legal claims that bind her. Let her rise, unencumbered. No court. The gavel has fallen silent, the echoes of justice drowned in a sea of uncertainty. There was no clash, no thunderous roar of conflict echoing through the air. He let out a laugh, sharp and laced with bitterness, echoing through the silence like a haunting spectre. Or what, indeed? With a dramatic flourish, Greg yanked a second folder from the depths of his desk, the air thick with anticipation. Or the world will know the truth. In a twist of fate, the local paper unveils a scandalous tale of a man ensnared in the web of greed, who dared to marry for wealth and ultimately faced the consequences of his deceit. "A reporter is already on standby," I added. One email, and the world shifts on its axis. The finality hangs in the air, electric and suffocating. Brian's gaze pierced through the air, landing on each of us with an intensity that sent shivers down our spines. He found himself trapped, the walls closing in around him, a sense of impending doom hanging heavy in the air, and he was acutely aware of it. "Do you truly believe you can cast me aside so easily?" He let out a venomous hiss, a sound that sliced through the air like a knife, charged with tension and foreboding. "Absolutely not," I declared with fervour. "You forced your way out, battling against the odds, a fierce determination igniting within you. We are on the brink of a monumental declaration." He fixed his gaze on Olivia, a tempest of anticipation swirling within him, as if he believed she would shatter at any moment. She simply did not. With a swift motion, she sent the pen skidding across the table, a silent challenge hanging in the air. He seized it with trembling hands, the weight of destiny hanging in the air, with agonizing slowness, and with a flourish, the pen met the paper, sealing a fate unknown. Every single last one page. As the final act concluded, he rose with an air of finality, adjusted his sunglasses with a deliberate motion, and strode out, leaving silence in his wake. In an instant, everything changed, vanished into thin air, leaving nothing but echoes of despair. Olivia crumbled, her heart shattering as the door clicked shut behind her, sealing her fate in an echo of despair. I enveloped her in my embrace, swaying softly as I once did in the days of her innocence. "It's over," I breathed, the weight of the world crashing down around me. "At last you are safe. The storm has passed, and the shadows that once loomed over you have dissipated into the night. Breathe deeply, for the danger has fled, leaving only the echoes of what once was." But she recoiled, her eyes glistening with unshed tears, a tempest of emotions swirling within her. "Absolutely not, Mother. The battle rages on, and I vow to mend the shattered pieces of what we once had." My eyes fluttered open, a moment suspended in time. Nothing was shattered, nothing was lost. Indeed, I did. I turned a deaf ear to the warnings that echoed around me. How could I have ever trusted you? My heart trembled with uncertainty. I allowed him to contort reality itself. I smiled, a fragile curve of lips that masked the tempest within. "You dared to believe in love. That is not a crime. Can you believe it? The audacity, the sheer disbelief. How can such a thing be? Ah, the essence of humanity. A tumultuous journey filled with heart-wrenching choices and the weight of existence itself." We stormed out of the office together, the weight of unspoken words hanging heavy in the air. As the sun dipped below the horizon, it unleashed a cascade of shadows that stretched ominously across the sidewalk, whispering secrets of the fading day. As the sun dipped below the horizon, we gathered in the kitchen, the air thick with anticipation, ready to conjure a meal that would echo through the night. Nothing extravagant, nothing to behold. Only pasta and garlic bread, a simple yet hauntingly delicious affair. Yet, a familiar warmth enveloped me once more. Serenity envelops the scene, a calm before the storm, where whispers of tranquility dance in the air, yet an undercurrent of tension lurks just beneath the surface. Across the table, her gaze pierced through me as she posed a final, haunting question. "Could it possibly be true?" she declared, her voice trembling with the weight of unspoken truths. "What of the money?" In that moment, time seemed to stand still. I hesitated, the weight of the decision pressing down on me like a heavy shroud. Then, with a slow, deliberate nod, I sealed my fate. Indeed, 7 million. Yes, I inherited it, an unimaginable fortune that changed everything in an instant. Her eyes widened, a flicker of disbelief igniting within them. "Why? Oh, why did you keep this from me?" "Because I was desperate to shield you from the storm that raged within. From him, born from the insatiable hunger of greed. Behold the transformation wrought by money upon the souls of men." With a sudden, electrifying grip, she lunged across the table, her fingers wrapping around mine like a vice, igniting a storm of emotions within me. "From this moment forward," she declared, her voice trembling with intensity, "all secrets laid bare. The truth erupts like a thunderclap in the silence of night." I nodded, a silent agreement hanging heavy in the air, the weight of unspoken words crackling like electricity between us. And at long last we feasted. Not as a shattered family, torn apart by the relentless tides of fate. Not as a mother desperately fighting to rescue her daughter from the clutches of despair. Yet, here they stood, two women, battle-scarred and unyielding, having weathered the tempest that threatened to consume them. United in a moment that defies the very fabric of reality.